Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, I want to review the book I read. The title is Pollyanna by Eleanor H Porter. The book I read is called Pollyanna, written by Eleanor H Porter. So the story goes there was an orphan named Pollyanna who, after her father died, was placed in the house of an aunt. Her late mother's sister, whose name was Aunt Polly. Pollyanna is always a positive and careful person. He has a game she got from her late father, which is the game of joy. The way to play is to think positively of all the things you've done, including the things that were actually negative. Well, Aunt Polly is a bit of and cool. She is a rich woman who is respected in her area, and she certainly does not easily adapt to her nephew, who is very different from herself. Pollyanna is a kind person, even too kind. She always smiles and greets everyone she meets. She also likes to take care of the animals she meets on the street and brought them home until Aunt Polly was very used with her overly innocent and kind behavior, to the extent that there was an incident that made Aunt Polly angry and could not bear to express her true feeling to Pollyanna, namely when Pollyanna brought a street child named James Bean to be adopted by Aunt Polly because Pollyanna said to James when they met his Aunt Polly was a nice person and would definitely welcome James into their heart. In a fair, Aunt Polly got angry and insulted James being bigger, so they boy lived with a heritage because in fact he was not a bigger and was willing to work, not just to be right. Pollyanna has been trying to help find a place for James by going to organizational ladies' aid to find people willing to adopt James Bean, but it turned out that ladies' aid in Aunt Polly area is more focused on donating to Indian children. So friendly, almost everyone in the town of Pollyanna know and recognize her, and Pollyanna knew someone named Mr. Pendleton, a rich man who to be cold and stingy in the town. Pollyanna always greeted her wherever they meet, even though Mr. Pendleton mostly just looked away and didn't return the greeting. Until one day, Pollyanna found Mr. Pendleton lying with a broken leg in the woods. It helped Mr. Pendleton call the doctor, Dr. Chilton, and took care of Mr. Pendleton a little while waiting for Dr. Chilton to come with help. Since then, Pollyanna and Mr. Pendleton have been close, especially since Pollyanna said she was Miss Polly Harrington and stayed at her house. Hearing that, Mr. Pendleton looked surprised and not so cool to Pollyanna anymore. At first, Pollyanna and Nancy, the housekeeper at Aunt Polly's house, thought that Mr. Pendleton was Aunt Polly's past. Yep. Aunt Polly used to have a boyfriend, but then Carol and Andira faded away from each other by themselves. But it wasn't, and her lover was someone Pollyanna never expected to find. Yes, something happened here. Pollyanna was hit by a car and doctor determined that she would never be able to walk again. Well, the whole city already knew Pollyanna right from the friendliness and the game. As I said earlier, the game of joy. Everyone would thought they knew Pollyanna visited Aunt Polly's house and left a message so that Pollyanna would be happy again. So Aunt Polly wondered where Pollyanna had so many friends and acquaintances. However, because of Pollyanna's illness, Aunt Polly was able to get back with her past lover and even married Pollyanna because Pollyanna's sick bed. Not only that, Polly has all got a change the recover. So next, the writer is the best author Eleanor H Porter. Okay, Eleanor H Porter, December 19, 1960. 8 until May 21, 1920. Was best known as the author of Pollyanna, the children that took America by storm during the World War I years. Most people today would know the name of the author of this classic, but many still understand what it means to be called a Pollyanna. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it is a person characterized by irascible optimism and a tendency to find good in everything. Pollyanna was published in 1913 on the eve of the World War I. Hardly the time of a story about a girl who could see the bright side of any situation. Who is my favorite character in this novel? My favorite character is a man of character in this novel as a Pollyanna. After reading this novel, I hope I can have a heart like a Pollyanna. Whenever in the situation, I'm still kind to have the big heart and believe in good, that the good is the one who of rules our lives and every problem has a solution. I'm always good to everyone, think positive and always spread kindness. So, the genre is book Pollyanna by Eleanor H Porter is a children fiction genre book. In this book, my favorite chapter is chapter 14. The title is just a matter of jelly. Why? Are the part that I like the most. Pollyanna always want to help everyone she meets, including cats, dogs, and also a boy from an orphanage who want to have a house with ordinary parents. Not an orphanage. Actually, in today's section, we will be carefully to accept a 10 years old child for granted. Of course, it can be dangerous if we're not careful, but even in the 1913 story setting is actually not easy for adults to accept a boy who looks poor and has never been known before to be accepted into his home. But Pollyanna did not give up. She tried to convince many people to accept Jimmy Bean. At first, I thought Aunt Polly would melt her heart and accept Jimmy Bean, but it wasn't that easy. And this is where the story gets more interesting, because usually it's easier to cheer when we're doing well. Like I said, the novel is very interesting and I assume you to read this book. I get many of a difficulty when I read the novel Pollyanna by Eleanor H Porter. First is the first I read a novel, foreign novel that is not translated into my language as an Indonesian language. It's a little difficult because it turned out that there are still many vocabulary words that I don't know. So what I usually can finish a novel in 2 or 3 days, it is almost a month due to the many obstacles in reading foreign novels for the first time. Well, overall, I strongly recommended reading Pollyanna novel because it is neither too heavy nor well. I overall you too strongly recommend reading Pollyanna novel because it is either too heavy nor too inexpensive. The story setting is that there are many lessons to be learned from Pollyanna, very good energy, and how the main character live her life, especially well with an open heart and always think positive. It is if we were raised to be people who always spread kindness whenever and with whomever. What does your name? Where are you? And how are you doing? Start to perpetuate kindness. Overall, this is an excellent novel for me. I think it's all for me. If I have a mistake from I say, I'm so sorry very much. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.